Hey everyone, it's Ten Types, and Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG generally do one of two roles. First of all, you have Pokemon that are powerful attacking options. For example, Dragapult EX is a powerful attacker, doing a very sizable amount of damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, and also allowing you to do damage to their bench Pokemon through the use of damage counters, which is also harder to block than damage, and it's very powerful. Additionally, you have powerful support Pokemon like Pheasantipede EX. Pheasantipede EX is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon in the game. I don't think there is a close second, and it allows you to draw 3 cards every turn that your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. So that's like a lot of the turns in the game, and you can draw 3. It's very, very powerful. And these cards are very good, but most of the time you have a Pokemon that's good at support or good at damage. You look at Pheasantipede EX here, its attack does 100 for 3 to any Pokemon. It's honestly not terrible for this kind of Pokemon, but it's also not very good. And I've like essentially never seen this attack used. I've seen it used a handful of times, but it's an attack that is kind of usable. It's an attack that could be used in essentially every deck in the game, and yet you don't really see it used, right? However, there are some Pokemon that do both of these things and are very impressive and very unique in this role. They're very versatile, and just really cool cards that I'd like to see more of. And I want to quickly go over what I'm counting and not counting, specifically going from cards that I think go from least meeting this definition to most meeting it. This isn't like a ranking, but I do want to just kind of talk about these cards. The first one I have is Charizard EX. Charizard EX, like, kind of is a support Pokemon. Obviously, it's like a main attacker with a very good attack, but it allows you to power up your Pokemon, but mostly allows you to power up yourself. It is a useful ability and can be used on other Pokemon, like Gouging Fire EX or Chiyu, or I don't know. It's mostly used to power up itself. If you look around, I mean, we see this list here. It can power up Wilson's Ogerpon EX in this Noctowl build. You can power up Dragapult EX in some builds. It can power up the Mega Charizard. It can do some cool things, but for the most part, it's mostly powering up itself. And then there's a handful of cards like this in the game. Another card that, in my opinion, is kind of similar, though if you wanted to count it for this video, I wouldn't really blame you, but it's Alakazam here, which is an attacking option, and does damage or places damage counters based on the amount of cards in your hand. This is a pretty decent attack, especially for a single prizer. It's very good. However, you obviously need to draw, and the Pokemon has built-in drawing 3 when you play it. Honestly, the draw ability isn't like super good. We see a lot of ones that are objectively better, but it's not like terrible. But it's really here to power up the attack in an almost similar way to Charizard EX, where its damage is not energy, but it is a source of damage, and your resource is the amount of cards in your hand with Alakazam, and this is adding more to your resource. So it is like traditional support in the form of draw, and it's like that's a big part of what this card does. But that being said, I feel like it's still more or less powering itself up, so I'm not really counting it. Then we have the first card that's like truly on this list, which is Miraidon EX. Miraidon EX is a card that I say is more of a support Pokemon by a wide margin. It allows you every single turn of the game to search your deck for up to 2 basic lightning Pokemon and put them onto your bench. You search your deck for them. So it's Pokemon search. It's pretty good Pokemon search. It's not like absurd, but it is quite good. And yeah, this card is good. Also lets you look at your deck if you want to and like fail it. Obviously, you're generally using this to get the Pokemon. You're not playing in your deck just to fail it, but you could. And then you also have the attack Photon Blaster for 3 energy, does 220, and then can't attack next turn. This is a very common attack, and it's all right. We see cards like this that can be powerful. However, it's not really super good. I mean, you look at the Lightning Box style decks, specifically Joltik Box, and you look at the 3 Lightning Pokemon, or no, I guess the 3 of the 4 Pokemon, Lightning Pokemon that are played as 2 of. Obviously, you have Joltik as like the way to set up, and the main form energy acceleration. But you also have Miraidon EX, Pikachu EX, and Iron Hands EX. And looking at these Pokemon, they're very clearly here for their attacks. Iron Hands EX doesn't have any abilities. It has 4 retreat as well. Your retreat and your HP and your other stats can be a part of you that obviously isn't your attack that can be relevant. A lot of the times it's not relevant, but obviously 4 retreat is bad. I mean, it could be used with Heavy Baton. But then you have Pikachu X as well. It has a somewhat useful ability, certainly. However, it's not played just for its ability, right? Its ability doesn't do anything really for you. It's not like part of a game plan. It's a support piece for its attack. I mean, it adds to some tankiness, but it's not like it's never getting knocked out. I mean, theoretically, it doesn't get one shot, but there's a lot of ways around it, like Alexian, which we just mentioned. Then you have Miraidon EX here with a useful ability and then a somewhat more tame attack. I mean, it does objectively less damage than Pikachu EX. It doesn't lose like all the energy on it. And it also is just one type, so that's a lot more manageable. But it actually meant to power up Pikachu EX anyways, and the type thing, I guess it's more awkward with the Pikachu EX in the deck, but Miraidon EX still has some awkwardness because you're slaying grass energies, and Iron Hands EX is more energies, but it has an upside of taking extra prizes, which is really useful. So Miraidon EX is a pretty generic, kind of mediocre attack that definitely has value, but it's also not like it's not the most impressive attack. I'd also say the same thing about Gardevoir EX. These two cards from the same set, Scarlet and Violet here, the base set, and they have powerful abilities. Gardevoir EX is a lot better. Pokemon than Miraidon EX. It's my opinion, all-time great card. I don't know where it will rank all-time. It's not like the best of the best of the best, but it is very, very good. And it allows you to accelerate essentially all the energy, the psychic energy from your discard into play. You do need to accelerate to psychic Pokemon, and it is basic energies, and you do damage to the Pokemon you put them on. Damage to the Pokemon you put them on is actually a big part of why this card can be good, though. It both gets the energy you want and can damage you, which, again, can be good, it can be bad. It's supposed to be a substantial downside. It's not a substantial downside, but again, it can be bad. You're also obviously a Pokemon that is important to your deck. It's the card that the deck. One of the top decks since it came out is named after. And it's not because you attack with it. You do have an attack here for 3 energy. You do 190 and recover from special conditions. I will say recovering from special conditions is almost a not like non-existent, but like non-factor here, because like half the special conditions stop you from attacking anyways, and the other ones like don't do that much. So the special conditions are not very interesting. The most prevalent form of special conditions in standard, I guess, is probably with, unless I'm forgetting something, I guess there's like some poison stuff, but for the most part, I guess I'd say Munkidori's attack. But Munkidori's attack like is occasionally used in Gardevoir EX, but it's not very good. I mean, it's like not terrible, but certainly not the reason it's played. But you have, this ability, which is amazing, and this attack, which I mean, it does less than Miraidon EX, which just isn't super powerful. I definitely say Miraidon EX is a much more meaningful attacker than Gardevoir within the deck is played in. I mean, Gardevoir is really looking to avoid attacking with this, especially because it is like so important to have in play. Miraidon EX is not so important later on with its ability, versus Gardevoir EX is like so important later on, and that's what makes it so strong. So, if it just like gets knocked out, and you're letting your opponent knock it out easier, that's obviously, going to be bad for you. But these Pokemon, kind of have, they have meaningful attacks and very good abilities. Again, Miraidon EX's ability being a little more tame than Gardevoir's, which is just absurd. It's been a top, it might have been a top 5 deck since it's come out. It's very, very good. But then we have Gholdengo EX as well. This is a Pokemon that's kind of in the opposite camp of Gardevoir EX and Miraidon EX. And Gholdengo EX here, obviously, it's used for its attack, which has also been a very good attack option for the most part since it's come out. It definitely has gotten, it started kind of meh and has gotten to be quite good, but it allows you to discard any amount of basic energy from your hand, and then you do damage based on the amount of cards discarded in this way 50 times specifically. So it's a decent multiplier, and you obviously can get basic energy into your hand and recover it pretty easily, especially with something like Superior Energy Retrieval. But anyways, you have the attack. It's very good. Not too much to say there. It does have some versatility, which I do like, but this isn't a full card design video analyzing these cards and everything they can do. But it is led to the fact that it's both a powerful attacker and has a good ability. That being said, its ability isn't like super good. I mean, it's like a good addition to an attacking option, but you'd like never play this card just for the ability. It lets you draw 2 if it's in the active or 1 if it's on the bench, and it's really cool where you have this ability where you're encouraged to put in the active, but then you just attacking with it, right? I can't think of a deck playing Gholdengo EX that is not a Gholdengo deck. I'm gonna scroll through, see if I see anything. This is like kind of hard to follow. I don't think there's anything. There's some like decks that are Gholdengo Dragapult lists that lean more on Dragapult, But again, this is, it's a good card, and the ability is a nice addition to the card, but it's in the name. It's called Coin Bonus. I've already said this. It's a bonus to the card, and it is a bonus. It is a good source of draw, especially if you have a lot of these. If you have 4 of them, you can be drawing 5 or 6 cards, theoretically more, but presumably you're drawing 5 or 6 cards with it, and that's good. Certainly every single turn, that is powerful, but again, that's a lot of cards. Each one's drawing you 1 or 2 cards, and you get a lot of value from its attack. It doesn't feel bad to have lots of these in play. It's more of like an extra, extra value from getting more and encouraging you to have more. And some ways it actually kind of simplifies the deck in that way. But it is nice, but it's still not even like the main source, or it's not the only source of draw in the deck. You see it paired with Lunatone, which I will actually say Lunatone in Gholdengo. I was playing it. I didn't play too much Gholdengo since Lunatone's come out. I played it a little, and it felt like fine, but I don't know. I feel like Lunatone, I mean, you're not playing. Well, you're playing a bunch of fighting energies, but you're playing them because of Lunatone. There's a trade-off though to playing fighting energies, because if you could play Lightning for Levincia, which is nice. You could play a variety of types for the Ace Spec Energy Search Pro, and then you can also play Fire if you wanted for some fun stuff, specifically Stereoled EX, but you could also play it for Blowtorch. Anyways, there's like different reasons to include different energies. So there is a cost to an opportunity cost to not playing, or the other ones, and playing fighting over them. But anyways, you have that as an additional draw engine. You have Fezandipiti EX. Fezandipiti EX is like a nice little draw piece to like any deck, but you could also be playing. I guess that's about it. Gholdengo was a substantial part of it, but it's not really enough to carry it completely. But then we have the next card here. This one actually encompasses this idea pretty well. It has actually 3 things going for it, in my opinion, which we'll get to a couple cards later, which also kind of have 3 things going for them. The 3 things, obviously, it has the attack and the ability, or maybe even 4 things here. It has the attack doing 180 for 3. This is okay. To be honest, like the issue, and the reason I'm not talking about this card later, is like a better design card. Again, this isn't a true ranking, but it kind of is. This card just like isn't super good. I mean, it's okay, I guess. It's seen some play, and it's a really fun card. If you haven't played with Blissey, it's so fun. And it can be really good against Dragapult specifically, because you can move energy between your Munkidori and just like obliterate them and stuff. And you don't have those like. But it just works really well with Munkidori, because you have the 2 things you're looking for. You have high HP, so you should be tanking hits, specifically against Dragapult, and then you also have you kind of solve the energy issue. You don't need tons of extra energies. But anyways, you have the ability, as I'm talking about, which lets you move basic energies. Once every turn, you can move a basic energy from one Pokemon to another. It gets more value from having more Blissies a little, but it doesn't have that much more value from getting like, it's not like Gholdengo where the 4th Gholdengo is still useful. The 4th Blissey is not going to be so amazing. I can't imagine. Also, it does have 4 retreat, which is like kind of bad. I mean, you shouldn't get stuck because you can move your energies, but it could be bad here. But then you have, as I said, an attack that does a 180 for 3, which is kind of bad. In my opinion, the weakest part about this, though the ability moving 1 energy around isn't so meaningful. I guess I'll also mention here, Mega Venusaur EX also kind of like this, though I feel like it's kind of mostly as an attacking role index is played in, or it's mostly as a support role. It doesn't really feel like the card that's consistently doing both in a way that's like interesting, where it's not like the one's just a payoff for the other. But you do have this as Blissey EX as a Pokemon that can be a supporting option or be an attacking option, and focusing on one over the other in different situations. And then you also have the attack here, which does draw utility of 6 cards in hand. The damage isn't so good. Drawing utility of 6, drawing attacks aren't super good. I actually recently recorded a custom card video, which you should check out. I think it's coming out tomorrow. I'm not sure on my upload schedule. I think I'm swapping them, but it's coming out tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one, though there was some minor technical difficulties in it. But I was saying that you have cards that have, draw on their attacks, and that's not so good, so you need some other benefit. But you have good damage, right? Or okay damage. You have okay damage, an okay effect, you have an okay ability, and you have, I guess, okay HP. I mean, you have very good HP, but HP is not a very important stat. So unless you had like absurd HP, then it's not going to change things too much. But having 300 compared to like Gholdengo's 260, 40 extra is not going to like completely change things that often. But having the highest HP, I believe, for a regular Stage 1 EX, single or 2 prize Stage 1 EX is useful. So you do have these like different things, which really make it a pretty interesting card, and it doesn't have like a clear way to build it. Unlike again with Mega Venusaur, that one is like, oh yeah, you want to like get energy on your board, move him to Mega Venusaur, or maybe move him to something else, and then just like swing and do these big plays. Blissey EX is definitely not going for these crazy big plays. They can kind of set up these big turns as well. This card is a card I really love. It's also, as I said, it's just not super good, unfortunately. But again, you should try it out if you haven't. There's so many different ways, and it's just really cool. I'm going to quickly, I imagine most of the lists are playing, yeah, they're like some kind of walls deck. With like Munkidori. They're not like the most interesting decks, but you can also pair it with oh, and also I say most of them I've seen have played Fighting Ogerpon, but then I've also seen some with Grass Ogerpon. I guess this deck will be playing Grass Ogerpon. This is with this is a pre-rotation Regidrago deck, but playing Blissey. So you got some fun things you could do with it. But moving on to another kind of fun card that's also not super good. How much play has this seen? Okay, yeah, it's seen a little. It's Hariyama here with the ability Heave-Ho Catcher, which is the support aspect of this card, which lets you gust when you play it. We've seen abilities like this before, and some of them have been really good, and some of them have been kind of meh. We've seen the Lycanroc GX card being a very similar card to this. I guess I'm like the same ability. Again, gusting on play as a very powerful support ability, right? Gusting is very good. On top of that, you also have a good attack, 210 for 3. You do 70 to yourself, which is like kind of bad, but you could even attack twice and you don't knock yourself out. And you go down to 80 after you attack once, which is like low, but it's not like, it's not horrendous. Like there's some people going to take themselves down to like 10 or 30 after the attack, and then they'll just get knocked out by like something random. That's not the case here, right? You're not going to get knocked out by like a Munkidori or a we call Lucha or something like that. I mean, you could if you really like if you attack twice, but that's not likely. Or if your opponent has like 3 Munkidoris or something, but then like what's happened in that situation where your opponent's got 3 Munkidoris. But anyways, you have that attack, which is pretty good. The ability, which is pretty good. Powering it up is kind of awkward, and you have the 3 retreat. So powering up the attack's awkward. Getting the ability in play leaves you with this big liability. You could like scoop it up and replay it theoretically, but that's not super good. So it's just again not a super powerful card, and it's somewhat dynamic. But obviously, when you're attacking this, it's very choreographed. Your opponent will know exactly when it's coming. So the attack's a little flat compared to some of these other ones. Most of the really cool ones are all colorless, but Hariyama, definitely a pretty cool card. Again, with 2 aspects that are pretty good. I'd say the ability is the main thing about it, but the attack's definitely good. I mean, this is a lot better of an attack than, if you compare it to like Hop's Double with the same ability. Hop's Double's attack is like kind of bad. It's pretty bad, but then paired with the hop stuff, it's pretty passable. But this is a like legitimately good attack, so it's not a card where it's like, oh, you have like a nice ability tacked onto like a good attack or vice versa. It definitely feels pretty well designed in this whole aspect there, which I do like about it. Then we have another card. Oops, this is definitely a different one. I was considering not counting this, but I feel like it does count, and it's Dracloak. Obviously, Dracloak's attack is actually like okay. It's like the thing I was just talking about, an okay attack stapled onto a good ability. The ability is actually not absurd here. Let's see, look at the top 2, put one to your hand, the other on the bottom. It's like good. It's not. I mean, this card doesn't see play by itself, right? And if it was really, really good, it would. I mean, it's seen a tiny bit of play by itself, but very rarely. And that's because obviously you have Dragapult EX, and they're kind of grouped together because the one's an evolution into the other. And Dracloak's ability is pretty good. I mean, it's better than Gholdengo EX's realistically. I mean, yes, Gholdengo EX can draw you more theoretically. I guess it would always be drawing you the same or more, but it'll see the same or less cards as Dracloak, and certainly seeing more cards is going to be a bit better, especially because, you want to get a few Dracloaks into play, and you'll still be drawing a decent amount anyways. I feel like Dragapult's issue is not drawing. Like, you'll have enough cards. You might not get the cards you need all the time. But anyways, so Dracloak's ability is good. Dragapult EX's attack obviously is very good. And using it as the example at the start was also kind of awkward because, again, if you look at them as like kind of the same thing, then you have this card with a very powerful attack and with a very good ability. Dragapult EX's attack without Dracloak's ability, I mean, it actually has seen play with Regidrago, but that's like weird as well. So just like a decent attacker without Dracloak. And Dracloak's a like a decent ability without Dragon Ball, but put together they're very powerful. This is not a super well-rounded, like, jack of all trades style card slash two card combo. It's more of like a king of all trade. What's a jack? Is it like Jack like the suit? I don't know. But yeah, this is like a lot better than a jack of all trades. It's a master of all trades. So anyways, it's good, but it's not actually the same card as Dragapult. They're just like you kind of have to play them together. It's not really even possible to not. I mean, you could play like a 1/01 Dragapult, but it's not like another Dracoloak in standard. But Dracoloak's definitely a cool card. It's one of my favorite cards in the game, I guess. I'm not a huge Dragapult fan. Not that I dislike it. It's fine. It's good and a little annoying to play against, but Dracoloak I think is fun. Again, it does help Dragapult in a way that might be too good, but it is definitely interesting having a card or an evolution line where that the middle evolution helps out quite a lot in a different way with like not crazy synergy but some synergy, kind of like we saw with Kirlia before that rotated with Gardevoir EX. Obviously Kirlia, if you're not familiar, it discard one, draw two, then it has synergy with the discarding or the energy from the discard with the Gardevoir EX. So definitely a pretty fun synergy there, though again, that can be too much. Then we have the next card here. This is Fan Rotom. This is a colorless Pokemon. As I was saying, colorless is like definitely something you want to see on these versatile Pokemon. Colorless is the type where you have a lot of different options because you can put it into any deck. Fan Rotom, it's a little different than that. It really searches for colorless Pokemon, so it's in I guess, a colorless deck. So obviously the decks it's played in. I mean, there's like, I guess, Terrapagos, which is a colorless deck. Opening Dusknoir? I'm not super familiar with this deck. Oh, I guess it plays Fan Rotom for Pidgeot. I'm not, again, super familiar with this deck, but you'll generally see this with a Noctowl here, and it lets you turn one, search for 3 colorless Pokemon that's 100 HP or less, reveal and put them into your hand, and you can't use more than one Fan Call ability during your turn. I honestly kind of forgot that. I mean, it matters a little if you could use it multiple times. You could use one Fan Rotom to grab another and like fill your bench with Fan Rotoms and get like all these cards, or just like get 2 and get all these cards, which I guess would be very good. I don't know. It still seems like, I mean, it does clog your bench, which is a legitimate issue when you're playing with Noctowl, but specifically if you're not really leaning heavily into Area Zero Underdepths. But anyways, the ability is obviously quite good. However, it's only usable on the first turn. Then you have this attack here, 70 for 1 colorless if there's a stadium in play. And I really like this. I will mention here, this is kind of like Lunatone Solrock. Those are 2 different cards, but it's kind of like the same thing as Dragapult with Dragapult EX with Dracoloak, where you kind of need to, oh, there you very much need to play those 2 cards together. And you have this interesting dynamic between the two of them where they kind of round each other out with a powerful attack and ability, though Lunatone's a lot better than Solrock. I mean, Solrock is like alright. Solrock's about as strong as Fan Rotom, but I'd say Solrock's better than Fan Rotom because getting a stadium play is like a little difficult and going to help your opponent. Getting the Lunatone and the Solrock in play is going to be a bit easier there. So this is more of a Pokemon with a nice attack on a good ability. That being said, the ability, again, only works on 1 turn. So then after the first turn, the ability is useless. So it gives it legitimate value throughout the course of the game. I don't love the fact, I mean, I don't really love abilities that are, or I don't love things that are limited. Abilities you can only use on 1 turn are limited. Attacks you can only use on 1 turn are limited, and also generally kind of bad. But Fan Rotom is a good card, obviously. If it just had the ability and attack that was meaningless, I'd like it a lot less. But with its interesting attack that has some like element of you needing to set it up, some element of it being burstable and powerful to knock out a previous evolution or soften something up. It does different things. It's a really fun card that I do like the way it's been made. Then we have the next card here, Zoroark EX. If you don't know, Zoroark EX is also a reference to Zoroark GX from the Sun and Moon era with the same ability, well, essentially the same ability trade. Did you know they actually do something slightly different if you're like out of cards in your deck? This doesn't work. The other one does, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, discarding 1, draw 2, pretty decent. This is an engine. It is okay. It's been played as one some in some different decks and taken the role as mostly an engine piece in some decks as well. It also has the attack and Night Joker for 2 darkness. You choose one of your bench ends Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. I will quickly mention this video is being recorded. I mean, it's presumably being recorded like a day or 2 before I post it. That's normally what I do. Specifically regarding the international format, not the Japanese format, so we're not counting ends. Zekrom within this, that way it doesn't change things too much in terms of card design. It makes the deck better, but it's a similar idea to ends Reshiram, where that's an easy card you can toss in and be the main attacking option there. The attacks kind of It's a little difficult to set up. There's Ends PP up. There's some different options, but they're not great. And then the attack is specifically with Ends Reshiram compared to Ends Zekrom. It's kind of meh. But again, we're talking a lot about cards that have kind of meh, like meh competitively, as in they are playable attacks and abilities. And this is a nice ability. I say it's more so again in a role of an ability, I guess. I mean, it can be its own deck. It's kind of weird. I don't know if Enzark EX quite fits this role, but the more I was thinking about it, the more I thought, like, yeah, it does. I mean, it has a good draw ability. It has a good attack. The issue is the attack situational, right? It needs to be with Darkness Energy. It needs to then find room for the Ends Pokemon and the room on in the list, as well as the room on your bench. So it definitely takes up a lot of attention if you want to be attacking with it, and it's a little bit of a liability for support, but being too present, it's not too bad, right? I mean, it's the same HP as Pidgeot EX, which is a stage 2. So I feel like Enzark EX is definitely a card that is a cool, well-rounded card, and pretty versatile. Even if I would have honestly, I don't really like the Transport one because, well, as I said, I don't like limited cards that like only work with certain combinations of things, and I like it Pokemon that can do different attacks, and Enzark EX has a handful of attacks, but they're kind of awkward to set up, with Enzark being evolution. But this isn't a full analysis on this card, and I do like it. I mean, I like design a lot of cards, and this one's definitely fun and a bit of a fan favorite. There are a lot of people who like this card. Then we have the two that, in my opinion, really embrace this and really inspired this video idea. The first one here is Mega Kangaskhan EX, allowing you to draw 2 if it's in the active. You can't use more than one random ability per turn. I feel like that doesn't really matter too much, but it is something you can't do. I mean, it could matter. But then you have a Rapid Fire combo. Again, I don't love coin flips, but outside of that, this is 200 for 3 colors. You flip coin 2, you get tails. You do 50 more for each heads. So you are averaging 250 here, which is okay. Obviously, 50-50 you do 200, and 50-50 you do 250 or more, 25% chance you do 300 or more, and so on. So it's a card that actually, I don't think so on quite worked there, but you get the idea. So it's a card that allows you to do decent damage to theoretically big damage on a coin flip. I've definitely had a lot of games played with this card where I've had to attack and had to get lucky and either won or lost because I got lucky. But that does add a bit of an interesting dynamic to the card. Not quite a dynamic I like in the more powerful competitive level cards, and not even just like in competition, because I don't really play in competitions very much, but just like in play where you're like, oh, I want to play this like deck. I have like a pretty powerful top deck. Then you have this like weird element of luck just kind of thrown in there. In a way that's not just the drawing of the cards, which obviously has luck. But then also you have it's also not interactable, right? There's no like weird coin flip interaction, which can be fun. And then coin flips can be fun if you're flipping a lot of them, but flipping like one to decide the game doesn't feel so good. And then the attack cost, though, it's also like something you are committing to, and again, it's kind of risky with the coin flip there, but it definitely feels fair being 3 colorless. Fair in terms of like the damage, or balanced, I guess I should say. I don't know about fair. And then again, 3 colorless is something we'll see on a lot of support Pokemon. We'll take a look at a Pokemon in just a second. There's also Fezandipiti EX, and you look at stuff like Squawkbilly EX, Fanrotom, and Pidgeot EX, and these cards also are colorless attacks there, even if the Pokemon's not colorless. But Mega Kangaskhan's ability is also pretty good, and it has really high HP, though it is a 3-prizer with a high retreat. So it has some pros and some cons, and they really all matter. The pros can be dealt with by your opponent a lot of the time and aren't like crazy powerful. And then the cons can be dealt with by you. The 3 prizes, you can aim for it really to not be knocked out, or aim to that not mattering, or even getting value out of it through the use of comeback cards like Iono. And then you also can deal with their 2 costs with Latias EX or Pekaron EX, but again, these are cards you kind of need to play, and you can't use Air Balloon with it to get for your treat either. So there's a lot of really interesting dynamics with this card, and it's by far, in my opinion, the best designed of the megas. I feel like most of the megas are pretty badly designed. They're very like underwhelming. The other one that's played a lot, I mean, there's Mega Lopunny EX, which is played with Mega Kangaskhan, yes, which is like fine, I guess. I don't have an issue with it. That's my second favorite there. But it's kind of generic. And then you also have the Mega Absol EX. The first attack's like kind of weird and out there, but it's kind of to use. And then the second attack's kind of generic disruptive attack. It's fine. I mean, it's pretty good, right? But it's not like super interesting or absurdly powerful. I feel like Mega Kangaskhan EX is versatile with doing different things and just a really well designed card that also balances the three prize aspect of it really well. Where it has the high HP to not be super like just a huge liability all the time. It's a Pokemon you can toss down when you need it. It can help you in bad situations. It can help you in good situations. It's just a really cool card. But the card that really represents versatility, unsurprisingly, is Mew EX. Mew EX, if you're not familiar, there was another Mew EX. I think it was an EX. Yeah, I think there was two, and there's like a non-EX or something. I don't know. There's some Mews with the ability Versatile, which lets you like copy stuff, which is not the same exact thing as we have here, but you have an attack and an ability here, and your attack here lets you, for 3 colors, copy your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks, or one of them there. And copying attacks is always cool. It does not require you to use the energies of them, but it does sometimes require you to do certain things with the attacks, or like you like when you discard energy or whatever. So it works better with some attacks than others. There's quite a few that it's pretty bad with, or like actually useless. If you look at like I don't know why this is the first one that came to mind, but Chien-Pao EX, and you're not playing water, it doesn't. Wait, what's Chien-Pao EX say? I'm pretty sure Chien-Pao EX says that it only discards water energy, but it takes water energy to use. Yeah, you discard water energy, so it's going to be useless most of the time. And there's there's actually a good chunk of Pokemon like that. And then there are things like Terapagos EX, where it's just going to be kind of meh. Not like not terrible, honestly. That's not a great example, but like if you can't expand your bench, it's not doing as much damage. That you could like theoretically wall something else as well if you wanted to. But then you also have the ability draw 3 of 3. Draw 3 of 3 on a basic. We saw this on a Rangaroo from Sun and Moon base set, I believe, and that was a decent ability or a good ability. This is on a 2-prizer with relatively low HP. Though just a Free Retreat as well. Free Retreat's the third aspect of this card, which is really cool. I said that this, as well as Mega Kangaskhan, have 3 things about them. They have the attack, they have the ability, and then EX has Free Retreat, which is a really big deal on this as a pivot. I mean, it's less of a big deal with Latias EX and Air Balloon, but it's still quite nice. And then you also have, with Mega Kangaskhan, the high HP, which I'd say matters a little less than Mew EX, but definitely is pretty unique about it. So these cards, they're just really cool, doing lots of different things. I think Pokemon that have different aspects to them are really important to the TCG, and they add interesting elements to the games. They're not like super complicated on face value, but they can add really cool strategy as well. But tell me down below in the comment section if I missed any of these types of Pokemon. And if you enjoyed them, make sure you like the video. Also, sorry my voice again, I'm really tired. But I hope it's all right. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.